Most Americans don't realize they're overspending in Europe until the trip is almost over. They compare prices, they book in advance, they try to be careful, and yet after a few days the budget starts slipping. Not because Europe is overpriced, but because small habits add up quietly. A train ticket here, a taxi there, a restaurant decision that seems normal. Individually, nothing dramatic. Together, expensive. These are 7 ways Americans waste money traveling Europe, and how locals avoid those costs without sacrificing comfort. Way 1. Taking taxis when public transport is easier. In many American cities, public transportation can be inconsistent, so ordering a taxi or calling a rideshare feels automatic. In Europe, this habit often wastes money. For example, you land in Vienna. At the airport exit, there are clear taxi signs. The driver quotes around 40 to 50 euros to the city center. It feels normal. You just arrived. You're tired. You want simplicity. But a train runs every 30 minutes. It takes about 15 minutes to reach downtown. It costs only a few euros. Clean, on time, direct. The price difference can be 30 or 40 euros for the exact same destination. And this happens repeatedly. Airport to hotel, hotel to train station. Even short city distances. In cities like Berlin, Madrid, or Milan, public transport networks are dense, predictable, and designed for daily use. Locals rarely use taxis unless it's very late or they carry heavy luggage. Americans often assume public transport is complicated. In many European cities, it's the simplest option. Local tip: before ordering a taxi, check if a train, metro, or tram connects directly. In most cases, it's cheaper and just as fast. Way 2. Eating in obvious tourist areas. Location matters more than most Americans expect. In many European cities, restaurants directly next to major landmarks charge higher prices for average food. Not because it's illegal, because demand allows it. For example, a cafe right beside the Colosseum or near the Eiffel Tower may charge significantly more than a restaurant just a few streets away. The food isn't necessarily better. You're paying for proximity. Locals rarely eat directly at major attractions. They step 1 or 2 streets back. Prices drop. Quality often improves. The atmosphere feels more relaxed. Local tip: before sitting down, walk 5 minutes away from the landmark. That small distance often makes a noticeable difference in price. Way 3. Overpacking your itinerary. Many Americans want to see as much as possible. It makes sense. Flights to Europe are long, trips feel special, you want to maximize every day. But moving constantly costs money. Every time you change cities, you pay again. New train ticket, new hotel check-in, new transport from the station. For example, traveling from Paris to Rome to Amsterdam within 1 week means multiple long-distance transfers. Even if each ticket seems reasonable, together they add up quickly. And transition days are rarely productive. You check out, you travel, you check in. Half the day disappears. Locals often travel differently. They choose one region and explore it deeply. Fewer transfers, fewer tickets, less stress. Local tip: instead of adding another city, add another night. You'll spend less on transport and get more value from where you already are. Way 4. Ignoring local grocery options. Eating out for every meal adds up quickly, especially in major European cities. Breakfast in a cafe, lunch at a restaurant, dinner in a central area. Individually, the prices seem manageable. Together, they raise your daily spending significantly. What many Americans overlook is the quality of European grocery stores. In much of Europe, supermarkets are not basic convenience stores. They offer fresh bread baked daily, prepared salads, local cheeses, high-quality fruit, affordable regional products. For example, in Italy or France, you can buy fresh bread, cheese, fruit, and a drink for less than the price of a single restaurant entree. The quality is often excellent, Locals frequently combine restaurant meals with simple grocery purchases. Not as a budget compromise, but as a normal routine. Local tip. Use grocery stores for breakfast or one lighter meal per day. You'll reduce your food costs without feeling like you're cutting corners. Way 5. Not understanding ticket systems. European public transportation is efficient, but it's not always intuitive. In many cities, buying a ticket is only the first step. You may need to validate it, select the correct zone, respect a time limit. These small details matter. For example, in cities like Berlin or Vienna, you can board trains without passing through gates. No barrier, no staff checking tickets at entry, but inspectors perform random checks. If your ticket wasn't validated, even if you paid for it, you can receive an immediate fine. The system assumes you understand the rules. Locals do. Visitors often don't. Local tip. Before boarding, observe what locals do. Look for validation machines. Check zone maps. Read ticket instructions carefully. A few extra seconds can prevent an unnecessary expense. Way 6. Paying unnecessary foreign transaction fees. Many Americans focus on visible travel costs, flights, hotels, restaurants, but small invisible fees can quietly increase your total spending. Some U.S. credit cards charge foreign transaction fees, often around 2 to 3%. That doesn't sound dramatic, but it adds up. For example, if you spend $2,000 during your trip and your card charges a 3% foreign transaction fee, you pay an extra $60 without receiving anything in return. You won't notice it immediately. It appears later on your statement, and by then it's already done. Locals don't face this issue when paying within their own currency. For Americans, it's avoidable. Local tip. Before traveling, check your credit card terms. If possible, use a card without foreign transaction fees. It's one of the easiest ways to reduce unnecessary costs without changing your travel experience. Way 7. Buying convenience instead of understanding. Convenience feels safe. Pre-booked transfers, premium train tickets, guided add-ons, priority options. When traveling far from home, paying a little more can feel reassuring. But in Europe, convenience often costs more than it adds. For example, a standard regional train might take 1 hour and 20 minutes to reach your destination. A high-speed option may take 55 minutes, but cost significantly more. If the time difference is small, the price difference may not be justified. Many Americans assume the more expensive option must be better. In Europe, the standard option is often already efficient, clean, and reliable. Locals regularly choose basic tickets because they understand the system. They don't pay for upgrades unless they truly need them. Local tip. Before choosing the premium version, check what the standard option offers. Often, it's perfectly sufficient and far more economical. Europe doesn't have to be expensive. Most unnecessary spending comes from assumptions. When you understand how locals move through daily life, your budget stretches further. Not by cutting comfort, but by adjusting small decisions. If you want to travel Europe with fewer surprises and fewer hidden costs, subscribe. New videos every week explaining how Europe actually works from a local perspective. I'll see you in the next one.